right, welcome to another episode of the Couch Coaches podcast where we talk about everything going on in sports, and it is all NBA basketball. We have some pretty great series. We have one not so great series. We have a great, well, I want to say a great game. I keep expecting the Knicks and Pacers to be closer, but the Knicks are blowing out the Pacers. And to me, the Pacers are pathetic because the Knicks have nobody but Brunson. And if they can't beat a team with all those injuries, and they need to go away. But are there any series that are jumping out to you as interesting? I know last week we were all Denver, and then last week it was like, oh, Minnesota's great, and now it's like, oh, okay, Denver's Denver again. So that, to me, that's the most interesting series. Deacon Greg, what series is jumping out to you so far?
Well, the Dallas series is a good series. They're going back and forth, but like you said, the Denver series back and forth with Minnesota. But I do think Denver has figured them out. I don't think Gobert and who is he not? Anthony's getting his, but his supporting cast has disappeared, and I don't think he's going to get much help going down the stretch. What is Towns, the big guy?
Gordon got him figured out.
Anthony Towns.
Carl Anthony Towns. He let Gordon just handle him. Gordon's like 6'9". He's 7 foot, and Gordon is like just bodying him up and just posting him up and everything. So I think Denver has figured them out. Once Gordon gets in his comfort zone and figures out that I can really, I can use my my girth and all that stuff, he gets comfortable and he plays his game. And I think they, and the Joker's going to be the Joker. And like you always say, Bill, that Murray is the engine that makes that thing run. And he's fit. I think he was a little banged up, but he looked like he's pretty healthy now. And I expected more out of Minnesota. I expected more out of Michael Conley Jr. as a veteran guard. I thought he was going to be able to do better, but Denver, I think, has figured that series out. So the rest of those series, Boston is going to take care of Cleveland, so it's just on to I think we're going to end up with a Boston and Denver NBA Finals is what I think.
Yeah, which is kind of what we thought going in, especially in the East. I mean, the East is, the Knicks are putting on a show, especially with all the injuries, but I mean, eventually this like one-man show has to like come to an end. I fully expected it to be this series, but it'll be next series, but that'll be great for the NBA. I mean, Boston and New York, Eastern Conference Finals. That's a pretty sweet for at least for ratings. I don't know if it'll be a great series, but it'll be at least for ratings. So who do you expect to come out with OKC and Dallas?
Ooh, they're battling, but you know what? Oh man, that one is a toss up. I kind of that's a toss up. I can't call it.
Okay. Brother Bill, what are there any series that are jumping out to you, and then who do you feel is going to be moving on from the different series?
I think the series that jumps out to me is the Knicks Pacers series, because even with the injuries that the Knicks have suffered, they've proven that toughness and will goes a long ways. You've got basically the Villanova three between Brunson, Hart, and DiVincenzo, right, who are playing well. You got Hartenstein, who's just having the game of his life with just getting rebounds. They're getting production from McBride. So they're showing some fight and toughness when after the way they lost, game 4 at Indiana. I was thinking that Indiana was going to come back and take care of business in game 5. So there's something about when you're willing to fight and they're well coached. So yes, Indiana, talent-wise, you think that they're better than the Knicks, but you still have to play, and this is the playoffs. And just showing up to a game, even if you fight hard, you've got to fight for 48 minutes. And the Knicks through the series have proven that they're willing to fight in every game. Even game 4, when they were getting blown out, they still made a run late. Game 6 is going to be interesting back in Indiana if the Knicks have enough to close them out. So that's the series. And people are penciling in, Boston to go to the East. The Knicks, while I don't expect, them to upset Boston, it could be an interesting series depending on what happens. And I would say those first 3 games. If the Knicks can still win, assuming they get past the Pacers, if they can still one of those 2 in Boston, then you have a series. Because we always say the series doesn't start until, a road team wins. So we'll see. That's the series that I'm watching.
This round, it's like only road teams winning.
Hey, Joe, before you go, but Bill, like me and Joe was talking earlier, the problem with the Pacers is they don't have a floor general. They all play the same type of style.
Yep.
Just go, take jump shots or whatever. Nobody to slow that pace down and get them under control. And that's why they lose once that the snowball started taking effect on them, and then you see what the effects are tonight. And again, like you said, with New York will be a tough game. I think Boston will beat them, but New York, that crowd behind New York, and they're going to show some grit at home. But I don't think they have enough to take Boston.
Well, the one thing about the Celtics that we've seen, just like when Cleveland beat them in game 2, is that for some reason, Boston, aside from Jaylen Brown, they at times play down to their competition. And when in crunch time, I sense there's a lot of one-on-one with them. I mean, I thought the reason why who was a point guard they got back in 20 that we thought was really going to be the guard to run the offense. I don't even know if he's still with the team anymore.
Is it Holiday? Was it Drew?
Well, Drew Holiday was a great pickup for them, both defensively and he gave us the Bucks. I can't remember his name, but I mean, Boston is beatable, but I don't expect the Knicks to beat them in the series.
When is their big man supposed to be back? Boston's big man, is he supposed to be back in the series in the playoffs at all?
Yeah, they haven't said. And like I said, if he's not there when the conference finals start, like I said, that's an injury that while they can overcome it because they're playing Cleveland, the Knicks are going to make them fight. So we'll see. Yeah, I mean, what they say, health is everything in the playoffs. In the West, I would say that I'm surprised at how well OKC bounced back against Dallas in that game, because I had turned away from game 4. I thought it was just a done deal that Dallas was going to run away with it. And I looked up in the news later on, and somehow OKC just rallied and stole that one. That could go either way, but I wouldn't just yet pencil in Denver. They're the better team. But we'll see what happens we'll see if Minnesota is up for it in a pivotal game 5.
Yeah, I think tonight will tell us everything we need to know about where Minnesota really is, because they came out looking like the best team in the league those first 2 games, and then they make adjustments. For if Dallas doesn't get out of this series, even though OKC is a great team, it's a great young team, the veteran presence and talent on Dallas, if they don't get past these kids, I think there's a lot of questions about I mean, people already have questions about Kyrie. There's a lot of questions about Luka if they don't get past him, because I mean, it's weird seeing a team adjust so much that they frustrate a superstar, and he was frustrated and he couldn't figure it out. And if I'm assuming it'll be a thing where, because he's the veteran, because he's so good, he'll figure it out. But to put a veteran on his heels like that, when you're kind of ready to take charge of the series, I think says a lot about the coaching and the players on OKC. But if Dallas doesn't get out of the series with the youth that they're having to play against, that's not good for the team that they put together. Sticking with basketball and shifting to the Lakers, and there's all this discussion about, I mean, LeBron's doing the LeBron thing. Am I going to stay? Am I going to go? I got to see some love, or whatever his thing is. We got a new coach. If they get JJ Redick, it's hilarious because LeBron does a podcast with him, and that's so stupid. 2, and this is the real question. They actually have draft picks now, so they could actually package together a deal and trade, and this roster that is not a well-constructed roster has 2 old just superstars at the top, and then a bunch of kind of mediocre kind of stuff for the rest of which got the coach fired. They have an opportunity to actually make some moves, but if they draft Bronny to keep LeBron, all those moves are gone. And Deacon Hill, I got to start with you. Like, if I were a Lakers fan, I would be so frustrated at the thought of drafting a kid that's like the 5th best player on his bad college basketball team to my team. As a Lakers fan, like, what are your thoughts about them drafting Bronny?
It ain't gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. Yeah, they're not gonna draft Bronny. Bronny might, matter of fact, he might. I would say this: if he slipped way down somewhere in round 7, somewhere, however far I go down, he might end up with them, but they're not going to spend no capital on him or first round, second round, none of that. I was listening to something today where they were saying that, and LeBron, he got too much money and real estate and everything invested in LA. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. But if Bronny were to go somewhere else and then LeBron plays out another 2 years in LA, he might want to end his career somewhere with Bronny, wherever Bronny ends up, just like a farewell tour or something with his son. But all that stuff about the Lakers going after Bronny for LeBron, and they're not entertaining that. He can't help the team. And it was so weird. I was watching the combines, and I never seen a guy that was listed at 6'4" in college is only actually 6'1 and a half. And it's like, usually they always give basketball players an inch. They'll say, they'll give him an inch, maybe even an inch and a half, but 3.5 inches, that's unheard of. I never heard of that. But what I will say is that guy, he had a 40.5 vertical leap. So he was blowing him away with his vertical. But yeah, he's only 6'1", and he's 6'1 and a half, and he's not a great point guard or nothing like that. So that's not going to happen with the Lakers.
Oh, which makes me want them to draft him even more. So we can come on here and I can make fun of you. Brother Bill, I mean, and granted, Lakers have front office issues. Warriors definitely have front office issues too. So,
hey, let me ask one more thing.
Yeah.
KD to the Lakers. We'll take him.
Who are you going to trade? All those draft picks?
Yeah,
you should.
Yeah.
I think KD to the Lakers or KD to the Knicks would be good. The problem is, and this is the thing that drives me nuts about basketball, is these players sign these massive contracts and then want to get out like the next year, and then you end up sucking the life out of the team you're going to, and it ends up like being Phoenix, where you have 3 massive contracts and superstars and 0 bench because you have to pay for the superstars by trading for them instead of just, I mean, even if the contract's massive, at least if you just sign the players instead of having to trade for them. Basketball players are the worst GMs in, I think, any sport. But Katie's got to go someplace for sure. Brother Bill, thoughts on the hilarity that would be if the Lakers draft Bronny?
Well, if they draft Bronny, then to me it proves that they aren't trying to win anytime soon. That would definitely be just for publicity, because does a player make your team championship competitive question, the answer is going to be no. Not like he's the only solution, no, the one solution that's going to solve everything the problems. But if you look at what his skill level is and what they need, the Lakers have he can address the needs that they have. He just doesn't. So like I said, I'm with Deacon Greg. I don't expect that to happen. If anything, it's just good for selling. I say for selling papers and making a story. I don't see it. As far as KD, though, I don't even ask that. KD to the Lakers would be interesting, assuming that Hachimura is gone, that D'Angelo Russell is gone, and they get someone to, and Austin Reeves stays. Because what the Lakers need is they need wing defenders, and they need someone else besides LeBron who can get their own shot in a bona fide score. Because notice, LeBron will take over the game when he has to, but he's going to be a year older, and they need someone who can get buckets. And one thing about KD you can say is that he can get buckets.
Yeah, I think 100% KD's going to go someplace, because there's some team that needs a dude that's not the leader, that's doesn't have to be like the savior of the team, but he's a component of it that would, like, just like you're saying, you give him the ball with 5, 6, 7 seconds, he'll get a shot. Like he'll find something. And the Lakers, 100%, the Lakers could use it. The Knicks, I mean, even though they're not healthy, if they're healthy and with KD, they could use it. I think he's going to be highly sought after. What it's going to take to get him could wipe a team out, and then you're in a whole other predicament. But so the Bronny thing, do you think that it's just posturing just to help him get like a higher draft status or get a better NIL deal or something like that?
You know what was so weird about this thing I don't even understand is because earlier they were just saying he was actually transferring to another college.
That's what I heard too.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden he's in the NBA combines and trying to get into the draft. I'm like, what happened there? So
yeah, see, and I'm wondering if it's just marketing for him. If he's just trying, get a high profile, high status, get a better NIL deal, transfer to some other school, or so, there's if they don't draft him, there's been a lot of talk coming out of like LeBron and Lakers and stuff that it's obviously just elevating him for something, whether he stays in college and gets a better deal or goes pro and gets drafted not in the last round like you should. And then so shifting to football, they announced that so we know our opponents, Raiders and Niners know our opponents. We know who's home, who's away, but they released the over under, and I just wanted to get you guys' thoughts on if you thought Raiders and Niners were going to go over or under the numbers. So we're going to start with the Niners. The number's very high. Their over under is 11.5 for next season. Brother Bill, I'm going to start with you. I don't know if you've taken a look at their opponents. 11.5. Would you go over or under?
Yeah, so that means, at least 12 wins. And looking at their opponents, because they play, aside from the normal 6 games, they play within the division, and they play the AFC East and the NFC North. AFC East, I could see them winning 3 of those 4 games. In the NFC North, I could see them winning 3 of those 4 games. And I don't expect them, I'll take it, I don't expect them to sweep the NFC West again. And so that means that this leaves 3 other first place teams and the rest of the league. I'll take the over. I could see them winning 12 games.
So you think they could beat? So who are they losing to in the AFC East?
In the AFC East, I would say the Buffalo Bills is a toss-up.
Okay.
I see them beating New England and the Jets.
Yeah.
And Miami just because of style. I'll leave it at that. And then in the NFC North, the Bears, that's going to be a grudge match. Detroit, that's going to be a grudge match. I expect them to beat Minnesota, and I expect them to beat Green Bay. And so between Detroit and Chicago, I expect to win one of those two.
You're not worried about Green Bay after the playoffs?
No, because I think there's something that you say, when considering what could have happened, I think this is where coaching comes in, where you say, if you're Shanahan, hey, and the coaches said, hey, they almost knocked us out of the playoffs. So now we got a little bit of film on them. We're not going to let them jump all over us again. It's going to be a dogfight, but like I said, I expect them to win 3 out of 4 in the NFC North.
Okay. All right. Deacon Hill, Raiders, you guys are over under 6.5.
Over, of course. Just in our division, I was looking at our division from last year. We went 4-2 in our division, and I think we can at least duplicate that or even improve on that. So you're going to get 4 games in that division, and picking up another 3 games, outside the division, we'll be able to do that. And you guys went what, 5-1? You didn't sweep your division, Bill. You went 5-1 in your division last year.
Well, because that last game against the Rams, we had guys, third-string guys playing. That was a meaningless game because we'd already wrapped up the division.
So don't say you swept it then, okay? Just
gentlemen sweep.
we won. We swept the division, the games we knew we had to win. That one we sat out. Come on, man. You saw the game, or maybe you didn't.
Well, no, I didn't. No, I didn't.
So Deacon Hill, in your division, so are you thinking that you beat the Broncos twice and then you split with the Chargers and the Chiefs?
Actually, I'm thinking that we could we'll beat the Broncos twice. I'm thinking that I think we can sweep the Chargers. The Chargers have a lot of okay. They got Harbaugh over there, but Harbaugh ain't out there on the field or nothing like that. And they got a big turnover going over there. We ran the whole organization. They fired everybody after we beat them by
700 points.
Yeah, so I think we'll do all right with them, and then I think we'll split with the Chiefs. So I'm thinking we'll be all right, and I think we can get at least. I'm looking at 8-9 wins. I ain't looking at no 6 wins. I don't know what you guys talking about.
Yeah,
Did you say split with the Chiefs?
What? Huh?
You said split with the Chiefs. Is that what you said?
Yeah, split. At least a split.
The world champs?
We beat them last year.
And that's the thing is Kansas City. I could see them coming in slow because they can turn it. I mean, like they're like the Warriors were with KD that last year. Like they know they can turn it on. So I could see them starting out slow at the beginning of the year for sure.
The difference
That's
with
because
this
they beat
Kansas
you
City,
guys, Bill. Okay, but we beat them. All right.
the the difference I think with this Kansas City team is they have a chance to do something that has I don't even think it has been done. Has a team ever three-peated in the NFL? I don't believe so.
Not that I
No.
can think of.
Right. So the thing to watch, I think, if you're the opponent, is while all the teams are going to be gunning for them, they have some added incentive now to make history. So I like the confidence, Deacon Greg, but I just don't see it. Chiefs are on a mission this year, and
What
I'm
what
saying
what
that as a
what
Niners
is
fan.
what is answer me this, Bill? What is splitting the game with them in the regular season have to do anything with them three-peating in the Super Bowl? What does that? How do you even come up with that? I don't understand.
Mindset, because that they if I'm the coach of that team, I'm saying, and the coaches I'm saying, and the leader Mahomes is, guys, we have a chance to do something historical. We're gonna handle our business every week. We're not gonna just coast through the regular season and then turn on the playoffs. We're gonna think about the Patriots. Although they lost in the Super Bowl to the Giants, they went undefeated. They were on a mission. I can just see the Chiefs being on a mission this year. That's all I'm saying. We'll just have to wait and see. That's all. It's okay. Now, I would say this though: look at your schedule to see what NFC division you play, because unless it's the NFC South,
The South.
I think
It's
you're
the
gonna
South.
have.
Yeah,
Oh well, there
I'm
you
looking
go.
at their
Okay,
I'm looking at their opponents right now, and it looks
okay.
pretty good for an over.
Well,
I don't know about
that,
10, but
that's
it looks
why.
decent for an over.
Okay, then take that back. What I said, I was gonna say take the under, but since you got the sorry NFC South, I would take the over too.
Yeah, because the in division games are always you're always gonna you guys know each other well enough that there's always gonna be an upset. Which when the Raiders beat anybody in their division, it is an upset. But
Bill, don't get so on your high horse. Next to the South, you guys' division is the second weakest. Okay.
But I don't think it's going to be this year. I expect the
yeah,
Rams to do better this year. Cardinals don't
The Rams
know.
were a 10-win team last year, and
Yeah, I
The
mean
Cardinals are
exactly.
gonna
I
be way
mean,
better.
so
Seahawks are gonna.
the question is going to be Arizona. What happens with Kyler Murray?
Yeah, I'm not too worried about Kyler Murray. He's
We know
not.
we know how you feel about Kyler Murray.
Yeah, no, I don't like him at all.
What did he ever do to you, Joe?
You know what it is? I don't like the. I don't know. I don't like it. It's kind of the same thing I didn't like about Cam Newton. I don't like the cockiness and I'm not into that. Like I want my quarterback to be like a dude. I want my quarterback to go out and lead and be a dude. And it's I got spoiled with Brady. That's what happened. I got spoiled with Brady.
Well,
Go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was going to say the thing. It's okay to say there's cockiness and there's confidence. You be confident, but you have to back it up. And if you aren't backing it up on the field, then it just then it becomes just noise where you're just talking. I mean, it's like you got to show it on the field each and every week.
Yeah, and Caleb Williams gives me kind of a Kyler Murray vibe.
Sure.
There's a little, I don't know. As far as like the leadership that, like the dog that's going to lead the team, I don't really see it with him. They have a heck of a roster. I will say that. So if Eberflus is worth anything for a head coach, they should do decent, even though the Lions and the Packers in their division, those are two very, very good and young teams. And everybody in the Lions are rich now. So I don't know. Now we have to see if they play well when they're rich, because there's a lot of money. There's a lot of money floating around Detroit right now. So sticking with football, and we got a couple minutes left. College football is starting their big playoff next season, and they basically how they did it was like they have a round, have 2 weeks, have a round, have 2 weeks, have a round. For whatever reason, they thought competing with the NFL playoffs was a good idea, and I don't know what they were thinking, but they went for it. The NFL announced yesterday or the day before. Basically, it sounds like they're kind of taking a shot back at college football, where during one of their playoff rounds, the NFL is going to have 2 Saturday games. I believe it's December 21st. Going to have 2 Saturday games to directly compete with the college football. And I would bet there's going to be two very, very good games that at least at the beginning of the season, depending on injuries, it's going to be a big game. Your thoughts on college football trying to compete with the NFL? Brother Bill, I'll start with you.
Well, I guess when I saw the schedule, I wondered, are they really trying to compete with the NFL, or is that just the way the schedule worked out because they're expanding, the playoffs now to include more teams? I just assumed the latter because to compete with the engine that is the NFL, you're just not going to win that. I mean, there's just too much. There's too much money. That's a multi-billion-dollar business. And so to say that you're going to try to compete with that, even as powerful as college football is, that to me that would not be a wise business move if that was their intent.
Right, right. So, but even if it's not their intent, once they started setting it up, going, "Hey, what could we do?" Somebody should have looked at that and been like, "That would be ridiculous to put these games on against the NFL playoffs," and they still went with it. That's my thing.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, agreed. So, and what I would expect, I think we'll know once the schedule comes out. To your point, to see what games the NFL has on that Saturday to compete with the college football playoffs, to see is that the NFL's response. Because if it's like some of the Thursday night football games on Prime where they were just duds, and unless it's something like that, then
yeah, if it's the Cowboys, the NFL is gunning for
exactly, exactly.
Like, oh, it's the Cowboys and the Giants. They're going for blood.
Right.
Deacon Hill, thoughts on the overlapping college football playoffs and NFL playoffs?
I agree with Brother Bill. I don't think they designed it just specifically to go after the NFL and go compete with them. But you got to realize that the college football got some rabid fans. I mean, some of those fans, they're gonna watch those games. Those especially back east and down south in the SEC and those teams. I don't care when they playing. Those fans are going to show up and they're going to be watching those games. And then again, and with the NFL, late in the season, you might have teams that don't have nothing to play for, like the Niners, and they want to just sit it out.
That's not going to happen.
Well, if we wrapped up the division in December, I mean that would be surprising. But you're right. I can see that scenario if that happens.
Yeah. So you never know how that schedule is going to shake out. But again, I think that, and then those college kids, they got to have a certain amount of time off. So they couldn't just get them all back-to-back games like they do in the NFL. When the playoffs start. So I think had a lot to do with the scheduling and things like that. But I think college is going to be fine because they're going to get their fans. Everybody in the college, they always want to make the playoffs, and then they think they got a shot to win the national championship. They'll have their fans.
I'm already like a mess in January. Like, don't ask me to do anything on the weekends in January. I go to church and I watch football on that's it. No events, no nothing. If you add college playoffs to this, I'm gonna have like 4 TVs around my head. I'm gonna look. It's gonna be awesome, and it's gonna be almost like too much. All right.
Well, it's a nice problem to have, though, because think about college football, especially with the change where you've got the Pac-12 is gone, and you've got teams now. I mean, the teams who left the Pac-12 that have gone to conferences that are back east, that's going to be rough for them. That travel schedule, it's going to be brutal.
But the games are going to be so good this year with these like super conferences. God, like the regular season college football is going to be so much better than it's ever, because it's just because you're putting all these divisions together. It's going to have to be like every weekend's going to have a great game, where it's usually like every couple of weeks you get a monster. That new Big Ten is going to be insane. Travel schedule is going to suck, but the games are going to be awesome, and we're going to get some sweet games out. I guess LA doesn't count.
Have they even announced put up the preseason rankings yet? I didn't think so.
I don't. Not that I've seen, but I
hope not. Yeah, it's way too early.
Yep. All right, you guys. The Knicks are closing this game out, so I'm sure there'll be another flip-flop, something crazy with the NBA playoffs. That seems to be what's been going on so far this year. And then we should have the full schedule for the NFL, so we can maybe have a better idea of when we're playing which opponents, and that could maybe shift what we think about how our teams are going to do next year. But thank you guys very much, and we will see you next Tuesday.
All right.
Niners.
See ya.